So today guys, we are gonna visit one of the most iconic and most photographed spots in New Zealand. It's called Nugget Point. This morning we are leaving the Whistling Frog Resort where we've been staying for our Catlins adventure, and we are hitting the road really early because we are finally leaving the Catlins. We are heading to the next leg of our adventures, but there is one more thing that we want to do along the Kaka Point coast. It's visiting the stunning Nugget Point. This is golden hour with the sun being so low and giving this amazing look to the entire landscape. The coast is looking gorgeous, and as we hit the gravel road and getting closer to Nugget Point, the views are getting even more beautiful. Nugget Point is super easy to access if you forget about the gravel road that we have to drive on. It's a 20-minute walk and the views are absolutely fantastic. It's a must-do on the Catlins Road Trip, and this is why we kept it for last.
Nugget Point is a pretty weird name for a place in New Zealand, but we find out, thanks to all the interpretation signs along the way, that it was actually called Nugget Point by a guy called Captain James Cook, who was the first English guy to map out most of New Zealand's coastline. And he called it Nugget Point because, well, the rocks look like little nuggets. There are so many awesome viewpoints along the way, giving you so many different perspectives of that famous Nugget Point Lighthouse and the coast even before you get to the main viewing platform.
From the main viewing platform, we have unparalleled view on those world famous nuggets, which are basically massive wave eroded rocks. And those rocks are inhabited by heaps of seabirds. There are penguins, there are gannets, there are royal spoonsbills, there are sooty shearwaters, and there are seagulls. That's a lot of life right here on those rocks. And on top of that, there is also a massive seal colony. And because we are here so early in the morning, the whole place feels alive. This is the time of the day when the wildlife is usually the most active. To be quite honest, the best way to see all this wildlife and all this activity happening is to use binoculars, or like we do, the big lens of Laura's camera. This gives a lot of space to this whole wildlife ecosystem to behave like it should in the wild.
The rocks below are also home to a huge colony of New Zealand fur seals, which you can actually see them playing in the rock pools and stuff like that. It's really, really cute. But if you're super lucky, if you come here between December and February, sometimes you can see elephant seals down there as well. But if you do have more time here, there's another really awesome walk where you can get real good chances of seeing wildlife at Roaring Bay, because there's different bird viewing hides there as well, and it's a good chance to see yellow-eyed penguins there in early morning or at sunset.
As we are now leaving the Nugget Point Lighthouse, I'm gonna give you a couple of facts about the lighthouse itself, because we've been focusing on everything but the lighthouse so far. So this lighthouse was built in 1869 and stands 76 meters above sea level. It is now operated by computer. No one is actually living in the lighthouse to make it work anymore. But enough about this lighthouse. We are now making our way back to the camper van because our final destination today is Dunedin. But before that, we're going to be stopping at the little town of Balclutha, which is basically right in the middle between Nugget Point and Dunedin. Here in Balclutha, we have decided to stop at Nash Park, which is a lovely little garden with also an exotic bird aviary, and we decided to make this little park our lunch stop.
We are super surprised to see there's actually a whole aviary here full of exotic birds like parakeets, cockatiels, peacocks, these funky looking golden peacocks, all sorts of crazy looking birds. So we take some time to have a look at those little guys. It's a pretty awesome free thing to do when you're making your way from the Catlins back into the civilization of Dunedin. Because we've been off the beaten track for so long, we realise that we have run out of food. So when it comes to lunch, we're a little bit disappointed.
So we've come to Nash Park in Balclutha to have some lunch, but then we realised we don't have any food, so this is all we have left. Looks like a trip to Pack and Save is in order.
Tonight we're going to be finishing our day in the Chalet Backpacker in Dunedin, where we're going to be starting exploring this awesome town of New Zealand, and it starts with a heaps of wildlife tomorrow. In a far, far away land,
called New Zealandia. A man and his girlfriend decided to attempt the adventure of a lifetime. 365 days they will take to do 365 activities, uncovering the best-kept secret of that far, far away land. How do I know about this story, you may ask? Well, I am one of them. Let me take you on a journey, on a story to this far, far away land.